Hey guys, oh boy here. Oh boy, this is oh boy. Uh, Ricky Patrick O'Connor, man of many names. So it is November. It's November something. A few weeks away from Thanksgiving in 2019, and we're down here in my basement. Decided to do a little director's commentary of the new project, bThink, the first project ever by Oh Boy. Oh Boy came from a lyric off of a song that was never released, where I was joking about, I don't know what I think I just said, where'd you get that? From the haunted section at the Savers store? Put it back. Oh boy. And then that oh boy was always super goofy to me and Evan, who you'll hear from later. He was on the project as MM Tree. But oh boy just stuck, and also like O'Connor, the last name, and the O is where I work. It's my day job. I scoop hummus, professional hummus scooper. It's at this place called Oasis, the falafel joint, and I call it the O. I've always called it the O. And fun fact, I spilled a little bit, but yeah, this is a coffee mug from the O. It's not actually. This one is not from the O. I did not steal this cup from the O. This is just one I found at a thrift store that was exactly the same as the ones that we have at the O. But anyways. Right now we're deep into the track, diving deep within, which this track was created years ago back at this place called the Tree House. The Tree House with Austin and Shelby, Austin the Wizard. So that was in 2017 up on North Lynn Street, which is referenced again later in this project. A lot of this project, so it's titled bThink. bThink is, so it's a word I looked up. I looked up the word bethink to see if it was a word, because I was like, I don't really remember why I did, but I looked it up and it said to remember, to reminisce, something like that. And so it was perfect. So a lot of my clothing brand, Clothes by Ricky, was like a big motto behind that was BU, the letters BU. Just to be yourself, and so like the lowercase b with the lowercase u specifically, and so this was supposed to be a play off of that, like bThink now instead of bu, and the T in think is capitalized, and that's supposed to say something, and so but this track is old, and that's a lot of what this project was. It was supposed to be like reminiscing. I have a lot of music that I've made in the past few years that I never put anywhere because I always thought it needed to be better. It wasn't good enough, and I realized, it is good enough, and it's important to just express and continue to express and not worry about it being good. And so that one was, I loved that one. It was super cinematic to me, and it really brought me into a world whenever I listened to it, and I always knew it would be an introduction for something. Kid Cudi did a lot of introduction instrumentals throughout the years, and I always loved that. So anyways, second mug is this one we're on now, and so this one is super, it's one of the newest, one of the latest ones I made. So I think this one and the next one were the two newest on the project, and this is a true story. So I was at Java House. I have a group of friends that we go to. Sorry, I need some more caffeine in me, if you know what I mean. But we go to Java every Sunday, a group of friends and I, and progress things. A lot of them are working on school stuff. I was typically working on some writing, but one time I went by myself. It was a different day, and I was just not. I didn't have inspiration or something. I don't know. I ended up just drawing on the napkin for a while until I didn't get anything done, and my coffee was gone, and all I had was this this doodle of a dude on a napkin, and I actually really like the doodle. I have it still somewhere. I posted it on my Instagram story. I remember that. I don't do that. I don't post on the stories that much, but you got it. You got to stay relevant out there, right? Yeah. Uh, this was just catchy. I remember I made it on the walk home. I was already singing it in my head. A lot of music that I write is just sort of like little instances that I've just gone through, which is why my verses typically aren't too long, and this one isn't too dense and lyrical content. It's just a simple little story. And I remember singing it. I was walking home. I went home and I made the beat and I sang it. And it was one of those where it was pretty much done in one sitting. But I did some touch ups, like at this part at the end. I remember once the project came about, once I started to get further, and you start to do touch ups and add some more to things, and I wanted to add some Twin Peaks stuff, like there's that little coffee, I'm a big Twin Peaks David Lynch fan, so that's what Diving Deep Within was a reference to David Lynch and his form of technique. I wanted that first song to feel like a meditation into my world, and then this with that sample, David Lynch as well, and so this was a newer part of the song. But other than that, this song was created in basically just one sitting. There was one part that I guess is off pitch, and Ellie mentioned that to me, but I had already uploaded it all, and it's cool. I got the version without the off pitch part. If anybody wants it, you can let me know. Used to be. Yes, this is my favorite. Oh, I added that whisper part last second. Like, cause the last thing I did in the whole album was add that little whisper. But yeah, so this is just ranting about sort of how I mentioned. I'm not talking on social media that much. I guess I used to talk a ton, and some of you guys know that, but some of you guys don't, because a lot of people I'm kind of constantly meeting new people, and I always wonder what they think, when they see the social media pages and they're like looking back. I don't know. I've gone through lots of phases on there, and you guys know that, but this one is talking about quieting, I guess speaking less on there and saying that, in a very rap and aggressive way, just because I was having fun. A lot of this stuff I was just having fun with. It's interesting. A lot of my music in the past has been quite sad, and I didn't intend it to be that way. And this is that album, this is that one where I was like not going through much bad stuff, and it was all just pretty happy and fun. And I wanted it to be a lot less serious, and although it's all real, it's just not, it's all honest stuff. It's not over like heavy topics or stuff like that. I wanted to keep it loose with that. Okay, a lot is happening in this track, but because at the end there I talk about my girl a couple states away. Yeah, so she was like playing a show. Ellie was playing a show in like Wisconsin or something like that, and then I needed a place to speak, which was me just recording, and then that's me saying, I don't have anything to say. It's just simply that my girl's a couple states away. I can't sleep. I need to speak, and so I record. Oh, so yeah, this is FM Tree. Ev, how's it going? I'll be right back. So here, you can talk to the peeps for a moment. Let me sneak on by you.
All right. Hello, this is Evan Wilson, or Evan Tree, whichever you prefer. I don't really prefer either one. But yeah, this was maybe my third or fourth time being on a Pat project, and I kind of joined in last minute, but comparatively it was one of the most thought out, which actually I'm just realizing for the first time that this song length is 2:47. That's cool. But yeah, he just reached out. He had the whole project pretty much lined up into one file, just all the way through with no spaces. And there was this beat with nothing on it, and he offered it up to me, and I will never say no. And so just kind of baked up the verse rather quick. And then he mixed it and just makes it sound so good, better than even one. Because this is all just actually one direct take that he chopped up, and I think it sounds really good. I guess I started off by saying that this is against Pat's direct wishes. He's told me no vocal effects because he wanted to mix it, but it's no fun to listen to yourself without effects. So I immediately threw that on. And I do kind of, before the Dennis the Menace verse, I just kind of slip a tongue. So if you're trying to catch those lyrics, that specific part before, it's pretty much nonsense. So don't stress too hard. But then the rest of it, yeah, Dennis the Menace. I'm playing practical jokes. And a lot of those lyrics on this verse, where I was reading a book called The World Without Us. That's kind of just this thought experiment of what happens without human beings. And yeah, that kind of brought us there. And then Pat sent it back, of course, with this beautiful, I am not from this timeline. I came through the mirror in a past life. Just incredible. This whole project I've just been a big fan of and been listening to it a lot lately. Each song is different, but it really spans a lot, and it kind of just catches you up on what he's been up to lately, with a lot of style, a lot of panache. Yeah, and I'm just really grateful to have been on another project, because Pat's just such a good artist, and it's a real honor. Yeah, well, thank you. We'll get back to it. I'm gonna turn this
Oh yeah, I'm gonna need that. Like I'm on vacation all the time. Stop it. Where I see it is, time is money, and I take that time all the time. And it's strictly a business decision. Dad, just ask Coach Max, man. This is just facts, man. Okay, so this is another true story. My dad and I at Taco Bell, getting real. So, late night talks at North Lynn Street, where I realize I have some time to be living this lavish. I be heating up and eating up the peanut butter sandwich couple times a day, and that's average. Whoa. Oh boy. I have nothing to say about this one except rap it. Don't you see that? When I posted on the Insta, I'm bleeding because I'm bleeding, bro. Because in that last song when Evan was talking, I was playing with a mirror back there, and I hurt myself. So I mentioned this album being pretty happy, but this is a really old one. This is before Ellie and I started dating. So Ellie's my girlfriend, and so she's on the cover. That's her hair in the box in the top right. And I would say that because I've brought her up multiple times now, and she's a big theme throughout some stuff, especially the next song. But yeah, this was before, we had just moved in. It was Bryce and I. We just moved in to the number 9, 2018, August. And we hadn't had Wi-Fi yet. And I was on Tinder. I was worried about my data plan. We had the hot spot in the PS3 playing Call of Duty like it was 2013, except this time I was sipping tea, because in 2018, I was sipping tea sometimes. I had, first sip tea in 2017. So I started drinking tea a lot in 2017. In 2018, still did. I was still a coffee guy first and foremost, but you Can't drink too much of that or else you get a little loopy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is just a silly little repetitive track. I remember I kind of laid it down and I did it all in one sitting. This one I never touched again. Did it all in one sitting. I went over to Ellie's house and we were working on music and I was showing her this little thing I did the night before and I was like, check out this little thing I did. You know, it's not done yet. The vocals aren't mixed at all. You know, but I was just like rough takes because that's what you say when you show somebody music. And dude, I'm bleeding like crazy. But yeah, and she like listened to it and she was like, I think it's done. And so I was like, okay, I won't touch it again. That was when we were totally just friends, but it was also a fun little fact. One time during that same meeting, maybe I asked her some like little. I've been doing these weird psychological, the first color you think of, and they answer it, and then you ask. Oh, sorry about this. We've got a quick ad. Bass Pro Shops, but yeah, so this is giving me time to tell my story. Yeah, I did a little psychological test where I like asked her like, red like colors represent something about you, and like red of whoever name you put next to red is supposedly somebody you truly love. And Ellie put my name for red, and it was so silly. I'm not trying to say I thought too hard about that, but it's like a goofy little fun fact. Those are fun little tests. Y'all on premium? I can't afford that, man. One time I realized how much money I paid on Spotify. Way too much, dude. $10 a month. I was too lazy to get the student deal, even when I was a student. So like 3 years of that, $10 a month. Forget it. I had canceled it. Got into cassettes. But what 2018 was for. So now we're at that track I was talking about. This is a really stupid little joke, but I was at Stella by myself the day I recorded this. I was there just for a coffee to meet up with Ev, who used to bartend there. Just got a coffee and was catching up, and I kept hearing the server ask tables over and over, how's all the food taste? It just stuck with me. But place I'm in love with, and town I'm in love with. Probably not the best pitches right now with I'm not that good of a singer, so I really got to prepare myself. Do it like 10 times, then record, and then I go in. But right now I'm rapping about my lamp, and it's definitely a reference to Seeing Things. So I don't know if you've seen Seeing Things, but that's a short film I made in 2018. I filmed it. I wrote it in 2017, October I started writing it, and then I finished it in December writing it. And then we shot, the first shoot was in January. We did like once a month through like August. We did shoots like once a month through August, and I edited it in August while I was dog sitting. And yeah, and anyways, then I went back to Iowa City after dog sitting, and Ellie and I started dating, and, I fell deeply in love. And so that was what 2018 was for, was my first film, Seeing Things, and then meeting, starting a relationship with Ellie. So I'm just sort of singing about those two things. And another reason I like to point at years, and separate, resolute when they come around. But so I remember in January, right as 2018 started, Kale, a coworker of mine at the O, they told me that 2018 was my year, or our year. So we're all dogs in the Chinese astrological sort of thing. I don't know it that well. They're pretty versed in it. And so they're like, dogs, 2018 is the year of the dog. And so I heard that. I was like, okay, give me a reason to believe that, And so in my year, I released Seeing Things, and Ellie and I started dating. And another one of the last pieces of the album I put was this little solo, which honestly I think came straight out of my little Eno veins. I love listening to Brian Eno, and he's got some strange stuff solo-wise, and yeah, I really dig this. This was on a micro Korg that I was borrowing from Tommy. Tommy, he plays drums for Penny Peach. He's a sexy boy, and thanks, Tommy. There's a decent amount of stuff with the Korg. I did as much as I could with that while I was borrowing it, so I appreciate it. But yeah, that's the album. I hope you guys have listened and enjoyed it. But if you haven't, if you've just listened, that's cool too. And, if you haven't, give it a shot.